Oh, the sound is working now. Cool. Let me post this new link. That's not what I need to do. Dun, 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 dun. Bam, there we go. Fix it. Okay. I'm sorry, Amber. I'm sorry. Ugh. What a day. So I was saying that I redid some things in my office. I used to have built-in shelves that I did myself. You can see where I like pulled them out of the wall. And I moved things around and it's a mess. My computer used to be right there and now it's over here by the window. I thought the light would be better and stuff. But I guess I plugged my webcam into the wrong thing when I plugged it back up. So that's that. Let me turn this light off and see it. Oh, that's kind of... I like that better. All right. You can see one of the reasons I'm redoing stuff in my office. I've got some grody looking. Our garage is on the other side of this wall, and we had some water damage from like all the ice and heavy rains and stuff that I thought I fixed, but I didn't. So there's a giant coffee can up there catching the leak, and that's gonna be fixed soon. So yeah, construction in progress. Work in progress, and it will be amazing enough. All right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I just decided to do it this weekend. We had some snow weather, winter storm. Lethan was out of school Friday. So that's what I've been doing this weekend. Is getting my office together, and I really, really like it. It feels better in here. Like the flow is much better, and I don't have like when I first did it, I was selling a lot of stuff on Poshmark, and Mercari, so it was set up to like pack orders and ship, and it worked very well for that. It streamlined that process, but that is not what I do all the time anymore. So I needed to redo the space because people don't stay the same, right? We all do new stuff, and it doesn't make sense for your environment to stay the same as you. Like your environment has to change with you, I guess, is the lesson in that. Jupiter, Saturn type stuff. Amber says she's home. I'm home because snow and others have COVID. Oh no. So we will try again next weekend. Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry. Um, that sucks. I hope everybody's okay. I don't like it when anybody is sick. Let me start sharing my screen. All right. One day I'm going to figure out how to do that screen share thing without giving people a seizure. Making you feel like you're on LSD. Not that I know what being on LSD feels like. So this full moon is happening tomorrow at, where's the sun moon? Oh, that's very close. Okay. We can just go this. The full moon is in like 24 hours, and I'll just leave it on the Grand Mountain Time, Great Mountain Time, whatever that GMT stands for, the universal time where the prime meridian is, right? We're going to leave it right there. Amber says, I told them I'm not visiting until people stop licking the walls. Oh, God. That's a different kind of sickness. People that lick the walls are fine as long as they keep their helmets on, right? And so they don't hurt themselves or others if they get too wound up. I've still got my squeaky chair. It's a main character in this show, I think. Of course, I squeak when I want to. Oh, what a day. How are you doing? Because this full moon, wow, is a doozy. So when I post it on Instagram, I like to make, when I do the Moonstream post especially, I like to kind of pick a song that is on theme with the full moon or the new moon. And the song Snuff by Slipknot is like one of my favorite songs. And I heard it the other day and it just kind of like hit different. So when I was creating the post for Instagram, I was like, oh, I haven't even decided what song to put. And I was like, I'll just pick Snuff. And I was kind of wondering like what made me think about that song with this full moon. Because Snuff is like I'll pull up the lyrics and show you. It's pretty, it's like a heartbreak type, angry heartbreak type song. So it says, bury all your secrets in my skin, come away with innocence and leave me with my sins. The air around me still feels like a cage, and love is just a camouflage for what resembles rage again. That's like the opening line. I'll let you guys look it up and read the rest if you want. Listen to it. If you're into, metal, it's a good song. It's more like it's not like a angry typical Slipknot song. It's more like a ballad or like a rock ballad, I guess. But looking at this chart, now I see kind of why I picked that song. Mars retrograde with this full moon in Cancer. That's such a... When I think about like Mars and the moon in Cancer, I think about like when you put fire and water together, usually the water is going to drown the fire and put it out, right? Sometimes it just creates a lot of steam, especially if there's a lot more fire than there is water, obviously. And that's what this reminds me of, steam. So steam can be Like anything else, it can be used for creation or destruction. Steam can kill you. It can burn you really bad. It can melt things. But on the creative side, I'm thinking about do you remember the movie The Flintstones from like the 90s? And the bad guy was like the steam powered conveyor belts, and then the old guy in the meeting was like, steam powered? Are you crazy? He's insane. Because it was like this new technology, and we have like steam locomotive trains. Steam is very strong if you control it. So if you think about that, steam is like a feeling, like this like rolling force. If you work with it, if you control it, if you focus it in the direction you want it to go, it can do something really powerful, really cool. It can move trains and all the things that the trains are hauling, right? But if you just let it do what it's going to do and you don't try to work with it at all, it can easily overtake you and hurt you. And that's sort of what this feels like. So the reason that analogy comes to mind is, like I said, Mars is fire. We know that it's action. It's when you're talking about the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and of course Earth, those are like the 4 elements within yourself, inner planets, inner you. So Mercury is our mind, our thoughts and stuff, right? Our neural processes. Venus is our emotional self and how we connect with things emotionally. Mars is the fire. It's the action. It's like the life force within you. It's your physical energy. And then Earth is you. You're the Earth. Your body is the Earth, the container for the whole thing. So you take this fire and then you put it in a water sign in Cancer. Cancer energy is very homey. It likes to feel emotionally safe. Crabs, they like go in their little shells and stuff. The moon is, as we know, our filter through which we see the world. And it's a full moon, so it's this culmination of energy. It's like the big subconscious, how I'm seeing things type energy, how I'm feeling things, how I'm taking things in. So if you look at how you're taking things in, coupled with this fire passion from Mars, and then you try to hide that in Cancer, like not necessarily hide it, but just sort of like try to put it in this emotional safe space. Yeah, it's kind of like the Snuff song. It's kind of like it's almost like an angry sort of reminiscing about a heartbreak, sadness kind of thing. That can mean a lot of, like, that's a specific type of energy, but it can be like applied to other things as well, not just like a heartbreak or something. Squeaky chair. I hear you. Mars is also retrograde, so whenever a planet is retrograde, for me that just means like, what are some things that we need to go back over as far as this part of ourselves is concerned? So the actions that we've taken, the things that we've done, the life force that we have exerted into the world over the last few months, few weeks, maybe not few months, over the last few weeks, how do we need to revisit that and see what's going on? For me personally, this is very much connected to my office, I think, because this is like my space in the house. it's sort of like my little retreat, my safe space, sort of. And that's crazy because Nicholas from Sparkles of Gold. I spoke with him briefly. He does like these live call-in things on his channel, and he was telling me some stuff about me creating a safe space. So this makes sense. It makes sense that I started working on my safe space this weekend because it's like action I'm taking to create this safe space for me, or to sort of like redo the action I've already taken in here, because I've already like done stuff one time. Now I'm redoing it to make it feel better, to make it feel more cozy, to make it feel safe for me, to make it feel like a space I can exist in. Like I can let my guard down in here, sort of like I know there's protection around me from everything else. So when I'm in here, I don't have to worry about anything because nothing's going to get through the shell, kind of thing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. As we all know, I'm a Scorpio, so my personal space is like very important to me. My personal, and it doesn't even have to be like a physical space. It could just be like personal space in my head, right? I need that. Like that's where I recharge. So this is like it helps me see the world better, I guess is what I'm saying. It helps my moon. It's good for my moon. My moon is in Scorpio too, so this is trying that, sort of. Geez, we like started off on this really deep, crazy stuff. Also, when I started this stream, it messed up, so I had to like redo some action that I was trying to redo. Mars retrograde again. So of course we can't have a full moon without the sun, right? Because the sun is like the moon is reflecting the most of the sun's light right now, or it's going to be tomorrow. And that light is coming from Capricorn because that's where the sun is. Man, I don't know why. Like Capricorn, when I'm telling you that I typed Capricorn so many times, I almost posted a graphic that said Capricorn full moon. And I caught myself and I was like, oh, I gotta go back and redo that. And then when I was like typing in the title and the description, same thing. I was typing in Capricorn. Pluto is close to the sun here, but I don't really because Pluto is like the slowest moving planet. That's a pretty big gap. If it was a faster moving planet, if it was like Mercury or the moon, I would pay more attention to this energy with Pluto and the sun. But Pluto moves so slow that like once it gets more than 3 degrees, especially like more than 5 degrees away from a planet, it's really like, of course it is Pluto. But I think the Pluto energy here is like pulling away. It's because it's at 1 degree in Aquarius. So Pluto it's got Aquarius stuff going on right now. It's not worried about what's going on in Capricorn anymore. It's kind of like done with that. Like a closure in the Pluto and Capricorn thing. It's leaving that energy behind type thing. Mercury is in Capricorn, but it's not quite close enough yet to really be like Mercury and the sun are not really hanging out yet. Mercury's on its way, but it's not. It's like down the street a little ways. It's not to the house yet. That's how I'm feeling about that. How are y'all feeling with this full moon that's coming up? Because it's anytime you put two elements that are, I mean, fire and water, like, what do they call that? A legendary duo? I think fire and water are like a legendary duo. And you've got fire like being all reflective. Like, why is Mars doing moon things in a moon sign? Because the moon is at home in Cancer. The moon loves to be in Cancer. That's where it lives. Mm. And then we've also got Neptune over here doing Neptune stuff that is exactly trying with Mars. So that's like a lot of watery elements. A lot of feels regarding action that you've taken. So if I could like put it into one statement, like sum it up into one thing, I would say that this full moon is revisiting action that you've already taken so you feel better. And Neptune also has like this little, it's like, it has an imaginative quality to it. It's like the collective imagination. We need Neptune. Neptune is our break from reality. Like, too much break from reality is obviously not a good thing, but we do need that little break every once in a while to be creative and use our imagination. And yeah, just like I like to read. I love to read fiction. If you like to watch movies, if you like to go see a play, however you sort of like break from reality, even if it doesn't have to be fiction, it doesn't have to be like something that's made up like a movie. It could be, you want to, like, your way to take a break is gardening or cooking or reading history books, like anything. Um, I think that factors into this too. Definitely. So don't like let the steam overwhelm you. Don't beat yourself up too much. Like, if you focus too much on, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Um, why the fuck did I do it that way? That's not gonna work, kind of thing. Like, don't do that, because you can. I feel like that's edging too much into like the snuff song, like too much angry, heartbreak, despair, whatever. Um, like, just sort of think about, what can I do about it? How can I make it better? Don't like wallow in the feeling. Scorpios know about wallowing in feelings, so trust me on that. Do something constructive with it. I think that the doing something constructive is important because it is Mars. And Mars needs to do, like, that's Mars's function. It needs to take action. So if you're not doing anything, if you're not doing the action, then it's just not gonna. It's gonna feel worse. But if you can find something to do that is constructive, that's gonna like create some sort of forward progress. Even if it's like putting a puzzle together, that's a forward progress type thing, because you start with like all these pieces scrambled up and then you put them together and you make a picture. So that's like a progress type thing. Before I've talked about doing something like repetitious that can kind of just like focus you on that one thing, doing it over and over again, like with the plastic canvas stuff that I like to do, or driving, or like that's sort of the same action over and over. Even though when you drive, you eventually get to somewhere else. Or when I'm doing the plastic canvas stuff, I eventually like end up creating something with it. The action is still the same. And but like with a puzzle, every piece you put together builds on the, I don't know. It's maybe that's not a good analogy. But I hope that's coming through. Like my office, you know, it's an action that I'm doing, but it's creating more. It's like a forward action where it's not the same repetitious movement over and over again. Venus and Saturn over here in Pisces too. Like even though it's on the other side of Pisces, I don't know. I feel if we're talking about when you're talking about aspects like conjunctions and trines and squares and all that, oppositions, there's two ways to look at them. So you can look at them by sign or you can look at them by degree. And an example of by degree would be Neptune is at 27 degrees Pisces. Mars is at 27 degrees Cancer, or will be tomorrow during this full moon. So that's a trine because they're 4 signs apart. It will make a triangle if we did it all the way, like with the 4 water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. So these are trine, Mars and Neptune, by degree because they're both at 27 degrees. The moon is also trine Neptune by degree because it's within 3 degrees of it. So that's called the orb. The 24 degrees and the 27 degrees, there's a difference of 3 degrees. There's a difference of a 3-degree orb between those signs, if you ever run across that. But if you're looking at conjunctions by sign or aspects by sign, Venus, Saturn, and Neptune are trining the moon and Mars by sign because Venus, Saturn, and Neptune are all in Pisces, and the moon and Mars are both in Cancer, so they're trining by sign. Does that make sense? So it's not as like Neptune is going to have a much more direct sort of connection with the moon and Mars because it's by degree with this trine. But Venus and Saturn are also in the neighborhood of that connection. You know what I'm saying? So while they're not like, I feel like I'm being so boring right now. While they're not directly affecting what's going on with the moon and Mars, because they are in the neighborhood a few streets over, I feel like their presence is known, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. They're not directly communicating, but their presence is known. to the moon and Mars. Like the moon and Mars are talking to Neptune right now, but they know that Venus and Saturn are also close by. So maybe that affects what they're talking about or how they're feeling or what they're doing. That's what I'm trying to say. Venus brings in like another emotional element, that emotional connection, how we connect to things, whether we have an emotional connection to it or not. Like how strong that emotional connection is doesn't matter. It's still on the spectrum of emotional connection. You can pick anything. We'll use art because Venus and art kind of go together. So if you've got, like, you're looking at an art piece that you really are just not feeling, that has to do with your Venus, because that's your emotional connection with this art piece. But if you see a piece of art and you're like, oh my God, I love that, that's also your Venus, because that's your emotional connection with it. And Saturn, we love Saturn, right? Because Saturn gives us those boundaries. It squeezes us and disciplines us until we get it right. It's like smacking your hand. Don't do that. But it also creates those safe space boundaries. It shows us how to use the boundaries to say, like, I don't want this, I don't want that. So these guys are conjunct. This 11 degrees and 15 degrees, that means there's a 4-degree orb there, and that's pretty close. So I think that counts, and I think it factors in when we're talking about the new moon energy. Pisces is like, man, Pisces, it's so abstract. It's hard to articulate because it's very intangible. The energy of Pisces, it's like almost like this content. Everything is done. Like I can rest now. It's very like Sunday energy. Like if you're into Sunday being the seventh day or the Sabbath day or whatever, Sunday is your rest day. You know, it doesn't have to be a religious thing, but that day of the week where you just rest, that's a Pisces sort of energy for me. And I guess maybe that could make the full moon energy sort of lazy in some ways, depending on where it is in your chart and stuff like that. But I think that it gives it I think that it can also give it a sense of contentment. Like, I'm going to use myself in my office again because that's what's going on. I'm not trying to talk about myself like me. I'm just saying this is my personal experience. And sometimes I think hearing about personal experience helps people relate to things or helps them think about what it means for them. So, like, I know I'm not going to get this done overnight. I didn't do anything in here today because I just didn't. But Friday and Saturday, I did a lot in here. And I'm okay with, like, not getting it done all at one time. Even though I know it needs to be redone, I know I need to take this action so I can feel better. I understand that, like, I'm okay with the progress that's being made. Saturn is that discipline, like, I'm doing something, I'm getting it done, I'm doing the work. But I know that it doesn't, like, I feel like it's enough is what I'm saying. I don't feel like I need to, like I'm not doing enough. Like I need to do more or I don't feel like I need to do anything. I just feel like I need to do what I'm doing. And I'm okay with that. And I think that's very Piscean energy. I think Pisces energy is also sort of like coming to terms with things. Pisces is wild. That's really like all I have about this. When it comes to like the full moon and the full moon specifically, I mean, of course, there's always a lot of other things that I could talk about. But when it comes to just the full moon, that's what I'm feeling for this. So, yeah, think about, and keep in mind, like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to, just because there's a new moon or a full moon, you don't have to feel like you need to do something. Just live your life, right? But if you do feel like you need to do something, like you need to go back and redo something, then don't get stuck on what you should have done, because here's the thing, like, again, with my office, that worked for me then, so that's what I needed then. This is what I need now. So it's not like, oh, I'm so stupid because I did this and this, and now I have to redo all this stuff and blah blah blah. That's okay. Like, that's how it needs to be. That's how it works. You know, like, you need what you need at the time, and then you might need something else at a different time. So take the action that works for you. It could be like whatever your job is, or it could be, this is happening in my first house, so it's very like, here it is, like, presentation wise in the world. The first house is sort of like how you present to the world. If it's in your second house, it could be related to like finances, assets, food, the things that take care of like your physical needs, the things that you have to have physically to survive in the world. We need money to survive in the world. The third house, it might have to do with, it can have to do with like your car or your email, or, you know, like, you set your email up this way and that's not working anymore, so you need to go back and set it up a different way. So when you look at your email, you're like, oh, this feels better. I can manage this better. I like this space better. I'm more comfortable in this space, type thing. Fourth house. Hold on one second, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry. Fourth house, it might have to do with like your home. Or it could have to do with like your internal self. The fourth house is the most private space you have from the world. And a lot of times that has to do with like your roots, where you come from, the roots that you've put down, where you are now. So that's very much connected to like home and family. Action that you're revisiting there. Maybe your parents or your grandparents or somebody, they're not able to really take care of themselves fully anymore, or it's just best for them to not live alone, you know, to have somebody there with them. And you set your house up for them to come stay with you, and then you've got to go back and redo that because it's not going to work, or the situation has changed and you need to like edit the stuff so it fits the situation better now. You need to tweak it. Yeah, don't look at it as like, oh, I have to redo all this shit. Look at it as like a tweak. You're just tweaking it to make it work better. Fifth house would be like your creativity. It could be your sex life. Like, maybe you tried something new and that's not working and it's not making you feel so good. So let's try a different thing. However that applies to you, I won't go into it. Sixth house is like things that you're responsible for. So the full moon might be like You put together this project at work for the team that's under you, the team that you lead, and you thought it was going to work great when you set it up, and now you've got to go back and look at it some more and like see what you can do different. It's not just like work stuff. It could be like your physical body because you're responsible for maintaining that. It could be household things like the air conditioner or the yard, things that you have to maintain in your home, your kids, pets, like anything you're responsible for the upkeep of is sixth house type things. Seventh house is your partner. The other seventh house is the other, so it could be like a business partner or a relationship partner. It's the person that you're like closest to in this situation, though. So that can mean like you took this action, you thought it was going to work, and now you got to go back and tweak it. If this full moon is going on in your eighth house, it might have to do with the eighth house. It's transformation is what it is. So death falls into that category. Also, things that you get from other people, like debts, or how other people, when I say debts, I don't mean like, oh, you owe this person. It's also like just what people do for you, how people help you, or how people don't help you, how they hurt you, sort of can be like that. But it's usually like how you benefit from what other people do for you. So if you've signed any contracts, just kidding. If somebody's holding something over your head, don't stab them. Don't let Mars make you stab them. The ninth house has to do with like it's like our pilgrimage in life. It's how we reach something that makes us feel like we're reaching a higher purpose. It's our path to that. And that could be like traveling, going on vacation. It could be like choosing which degree you want to pursue in college. It could be anything, sort of like where you want to go in life, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what you want to gain, what you want to learn about, that type of thing. What are some actions that you need to tweak so you can feel better around those things? The 10th house is like your most public house. It's where people see you. It's like the public image of you. It's the action that people see you do. So this is why like work, career falls under the 10th house, because that's people's public image of you. That's the action that they see you doing in the world. So it doesn't just have to be work. It could be anything. I mean, like Charlie Sheen is an actor and we know him for that, but we also know him for like being a crazy party animal, right? I think he's more known for being Charlie Sheen, doing the Charlie Sheen things. He's more known for winning than he is for acting, maybe, right? So that's 10th house. 11th house is it's not your closest circle, but it's your like outer circles of people you know. So like coworkers, if you go to church, like your church members that you know, social media friends, schoolmates, those type of people, like acquaintances, fall into the 11th house category. So think about, again, what action have I taken that needs to be tweaked a little bit so I feel better regarding this? It could be like maybe a few weeks ago, you just decided to cut off all social media, or you just decided you're not going to go hang out with this group of people anymore. But now you're kind of like revising that a little bit. You're saying, how, like, the action that I took, I want it to make me feel the best I can feel. So is there anything I can do to make myself feel better about this action? And then the 12th house is like, the 12th house. That's like psychological stuff. That's where your subconscious is. Like the 3rd house has to do with the daily mind, right? The mind that we work with every day, how we communicate with people, how we logistics, how we get to where we need to go. The 9th house is how we use our mind to achieve more, to grow, to become like what we want to be, to get to that higher purpose or that level of achievement. It's like that yearning type thing. But then the 12th house mind is like, what's everybody not seeing? It's like the deepest part of the mind. Mental health issues can be here, like dreams, anything subconscious. So actions you take related to your subconscious. That could be like maybe you found a psychiatrist or whatever, and now it could be something really simple like you scheduled your appointment with this psychologist and now you need to like reschedule it because you scheduled it in the morning and you're just really not a morning person. So you would feel much better about the situation if you rescheduled the appointment for the afternoon. Like it could be something that simple for real. Or it could be like, I need to stop eating ginger before I go to sleep because it's making me have these crazy dreams. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like it just depends on all kind of stuff. So if you want to share like which house this full moon is happening in for you, I would love to hear about that. How these planets on this screen right here in this chart, like where everything's going to be with the full moon tomorrow, how that is interacting with the planets in your own personal natal chart, natal chart. Like everybody has their own individual story, so it's not a one size fits all thing. Astrology is like the most personal thing because it's you, right? And none of us are the same. That's all I have for this. Like I got super reflective for this Cancer full moon and took extra action in the stream by going through all the houses. Maybe I'll start doing that. Would you guys be interested in me talking about how it affects all the rising signs? Then I can like go through the houses and stuff for each new moon and full moon. Let me know. Yeah, that's all I have. I've got some stuff I'm working on, and y'all will hear about that soon when it's happening. But that's all I have for right now. Tomorrow I'm gonna go visit my grandma, I think, and then Tuesday I'll get a lot of stuff put up, and you'll see some of the things I've been working on. That's it. So thanks for hanging out. Sorry about the crazy stuff in the beginning with the audio problems. I'll get there. Pluto in Aquarius is going to teach me so much about technology. I can't wait. Because, Scorpios love our pain. That's it. I'll see you guys there. Bye.